Canelo Crawford, if they do fight, what's your opinion?
It's very different weight class.
The epic battle between pound-for-pound champions, according to reports, Bud and Alvarez have agreed to fight later this year in one of the greatest boxing events of 2025. Bud will try to pull off a major upset by moving up 2 weight categories to face the unified super middleweight champion. Canelo, see you in the ring. A lot of things are happening right now, including a major fight with Canelo Alvarez. Could you explain what's happening there and if it will happen next? We'll see you then. The last time Crawford competed was in August, when he made his 154-pound debut against WBA super welterweight champion Israel Madrimov. It was a fierce fight, with Bud possibly exerting more effort than he has in his career thus far, but Crawford ultimately prevailed by unanimous decision. Triumphed to capture the championship and earn the title of 4-weight world champion after having personally seen what it's like to confront Speaking to Boxing News, Crawford Madrimov has already made his prediction. He didn't hesitate to choose a winner, saying, "I think this Canelo will win how I think decision. It's a very different weight class Canelo will win." In light of the decision, I believe that Madrimov himself will make a bold prediction for the next fight when he confronts Virgil Ortiz Jr. for the World Boxing Council interim super welterweight title next month in an attempt to recover from the loss. Tim Bradley, a former 2-weight world champion, has said that one guy will beat the brakes off the other in a possible bout between Terence Crawford and Canelo. Who do you like in the bout, in your opinion? Music? Dad's pal, but it's insane. Dude, pay attention, but in an interview with the 3 Krona podcast, Alexander Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight champion, threw his support behind Terence Crawford in a highly anticipated possible fight against Saul Canelo Alvarez that could happen at the end of this year or early in 2025. Usyk emphasized Crawford's audacious decision to challenge Canelo by moving up 3 weight classes, as well as his remarkable intelligence and versatility in the ring. "I say Terence win. Yes, Terence win over Canelo." "Listen, Terence won. Terence is a different guy. Terence is a buddy of mine, but he's insane." Usyk said, "Listen, I think Terence wins. Terence has changed as a guy. Terence operates in 2 ways. He is a very intelligent individual." Turkey Alec has been working hard to finalize the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. In an interview with TNT Sports Boxing, former 2-time world heavyweight champion Fury acknowledged that weight was the deciding factor in the fight, giving Crawford a chance to defeat Canelo had they met years ago in a lower division. However, he is supporting the Mexican at super middleweight, where the fight will undoubtedly take place for pay-per-view viewers. In your opinion, Crawford's skill level equalizes the weight, so yes, it would be the same weight if they fought. How much weight would this bout have? I'm not sure, but I'll say Canelo at 168 and Crawford at 140, so I'll go with Canelo. Canelo has made it clear that he will not be losing any weight, which is consistent with Bud's intention to push himself to the limit by reaching 168, which is 14 pounds heavier than he was in his previous appearance. If Crawford were to go from 47 to 68, he may pull Canelo down to 60 or 54 or whatever. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. Do you have a favorite? The Mexican has acknowledged that he would accept the proper money, but the American is much more eager. Thus, it is unclear whether the battle between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez will really happen. At this point, Davis has entered the discussion. Crawford and Canelo have reportedly agreed a deal for the mega fight to take place this year, bringing together 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport. The fight is believed to have come together after the pair met separately with Saudi chief Turkey Alec in London over the weekend after a year of back-and-forth discussion over whether or not it will happen. While most in boxing are excited at the prospect of seeing Crawford and Canelo square off, it seems that another of the sport's biggest stars isn't that impressed. If I'm easy work, I heard him say, "I'm easy work. If I was easy work, what you know, you would take all that money that he's offering you." But yet with Davis apparently not a fan of the fight between Crawford and Canelo, his coach Calvin Ford has also delivered his verdict for how the fight will go. The debate over who would win between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford continues to rage on the fight would be one of the biggest in boxing, putting together two pound-for-pound great, although it would require Crawford to make a huge jump up in weight. Vaughn, do you think that this Terence Crawford-Canelo fight is one where they could reach a weight that makes sense? Do you think that the weight would affect T? Davis's trainer, Calvin Ford, has now spoken out about the possible matchup using fight hype and seemed to be leaning towards the Mexican. I mean, Canelo is the king. Regardless of what he says or what I say, but it's a nice battle, and I'd want to see how it turns out. Canelo has been using some smart tactics in his battles. Ford also spoke on Crawford's performance in his most recent fight, in which he lifted 154 pounds to overcome Israel Madrimov, but failed to stop him. Since it was Crawford's first fight, you can't claim he didn't have the strength up there. He had to adapt. It's as if they made modifications as Ben Aid's weight increased. In order to prove to the world that Terence Crawford is capable, I hope he can fight again at that weight. If not, we will begin to wonder. I like to see that fight, the outcome of it, you what I'm saying, and been watching. Canelo has been making some good moves, far as fights and whatnot, so again, he's the king, you get what I'm saying, so. Ford concluded by outlining his reasons for believing Crawford is pursuing a fight with Canelo. Terence is a bad boy who is moving up because he wants to fight and isn't getting any younger. He is doing everything he can to leave his mark here, and while Crawford has been fighting Canelo, he has also recently been embroiled in a verbal altercation with Teofimo Lopez, which has intensified with a new feud on social media. I have a question for you. How would a battle between you and Terence Crawford look at 147? Over the last 2 years, Crawford has built a compelling argument to become the best fighter in the sport in terms of weight for weight when he defeated Errol Spence Jr. in their super fight at 147 pounds. The jarring weight difference has become a point of contention in the boxing community, and Mike Tyson shares the sentiment. Davis, who weighs 135 pounds, was asked how he would fare against the 147-pound Crawford, and Tank, who thought he could defeat the bigger fighter in 6 rounds. 147, he is going to sleep, he ain't got no chance, hey, I got round 6. I don't like that battle because I believe it could be on the line, but I'm just saying, dude, we can't, it won't happen, we can't claim that it is. On the Come and Talk to Me podcast on September 20th, Tyson said that he had a tight battle with his last opponent, Israel Madrim, but that he shouldn't have even engaged in combat with him due to his size and awkwardness. Tyson raises an important issue. Madrimov, who was unbeaten before their bout despite being 5 feet 8 inches taller than Canelo, gave Crawford one of his worst battles to date. What do you think of Terence Crawford calling out Canelo? Crawford has a wiry build and would likely lose strength and muscle to fight in larger weight classes, but he still thinks he knows what's best for his body. Before fighting Madoff, Crawford told Yahoo Sports that he had moved up in weight because he wanted to fight the best guy in the division. No one can match the ambition of a professional fighter, and Crawford may soon have the opportunity to aim for all-time greatness against Canelo. However, the weight difference will only serve to solidify his legacy with a victory. That's why I don't like that fight, It's just too much weight.
He had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy. Right. Should have fought a guy that was just come straight at him. The guy was too awkward.
He's herky-jerky.
Or one of them.
In a recent interview, Ryan Garcia left little space for doubt about his thoughts on a possible bout between boxing stars Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. Garcia, who is well known for his controversial remarks, called Crawford an overhyped jerk and asserted that Alvarez would win if the two faced off in the ring. Speaking to television, Garcia did not hold back when he called Crawford a dull fighter who doesn't deserve the attention he gets and is only stealing boxing money. Other than Errol Spence Jr., who was involved in a vehicle accident, Terence hasn't actually defeated anybody. Sean Porter, who is well known, is the person he has defeated, but he hasn't defeated anyone, and he won't beat anyone. Buddy. The young boxer Terence Crawford, who is now serving a doping penalty, even challenged Crawford, saying, "Come see me in the ring if you think I'm talking out foul language." Given his current ban and the controversies surrounding his failed drug test earlier this year, Garcia's comments were especially audacious. Garcia's decision was unambiguous, as expected, and he even challenged one of the superstars to a fight if he disagreed. No, K. Crawford isn't like that, dude. K. Crawford is overhyped, dude. I'm sorry, but someone has to admit that you're overhyped, dude. Right now, I'm staring at the camera. Garcia said that Terence Crawford is not like that when he watches TV. The overhyped jerk that Terence Crawford is, I'm sorry, but someone has to admit that you're an overhyped jerk. I'm staring at the camera right now. Just stop behaving like that, man. Stop taking boxing's money and wasting everyone's money. You're boring as hell. Ryan Garcia has been making waves in the boxing world, recently stirring the pot with his bold statements about his contemporaries, especially Terence "Bud" Crawford. With a brash confidence and no hesitation, Garcia continues to dismiss the achievements of others in the sport, particularly those who have earned legendary status. He's gone on record saying, "If you think I'm just talking, come watch me in the ring. I can take on Crawford anytime, no problem. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when." Garcia's bravado isn't just the usual trash talk you'd expect from a fighter aiming for attention. It's a declaration of belief in his own abilities. He asserts that Crawford, despite his accolades, isn't as invincible as many might think. What do you mean? Garcia says, addressing Crawford's reputation. This guy's not that skilled. I've seen plenty of fighters like him. He gets hit a lot, he gets wobbled, and you're all acting like he's the next Mayweather. It's funny. He's not untouchable, buddy. Garcia's words are sharp and pointed, challenging the narrative that Crawford is some sort of unbreakable force in the sport of boxing. This confrontation seems to stem from a belief that Crawford's defensive prowess and technique are overstated. Garcia claims that Crawford's ability to dodge punches isn't as exceptional as fans and pundits often claim. He gets hit all the time. Yeah, he's good, but he's not the second coming of Sugar Ray Leonard. He's not some untouchable legend, Garcia states, further emphasizing that Crawford's style is more flawed than it's made out to be. Garcia, drawing from his own experiences in the ring, suggests that Crawford is more vulnerable than many realize. Garcia, however, isn't without his own reason for such confidence. He reminds everyone that he was one of the finest amateur boxers before turning professional, and his own skills in the ring have been honed to perfection. Despite Crawford's impressive record, Garcia believes that his own talent can more than match up to Crawford's abilities. I've seen a lot of guys like Crawford. I can find a way to beat him. He's not some god of the sport. He gets hit too much. And you all act like he's unbeatable, Garcia adds, indicating that he's more than capable of handling Crawford if the two were ever to meet. Though Garcia seems ready for the challenge, the details of a potential fight between the two are unclear. The consensus is that if a bout were to happen, it would most likely take place at a catchweight, as Garcia has never fought at the 147-pound welterweight limit. Crawford, on the other hand, has only recently competed at that weight class. The last time Crawford fought at a super lightweight 140 pounds was in August 2017, after which he tested positive for a banned substance following a bout with Devin Haney. Currently, Crawford is under suspension, further complicating any immediate plans for a fight with Garcia. Despite the complications, Garcia seems undeterred, suggesting that Crawford's next big fight might not be with him, but with Canelo Alvarez, another big name in the boxing world. Garcia argues that Crawford is only trying to set up a bout with Canelo, possibly as a way to boost his own profile, but he doesn't believe that fight will ever come to fruition. Crawford's been calling out Canelo, but I don't think it's going to happen, Garcia remarks with conviction. His belief that Crawford is chasing a fight with Canelo reflects his skepticism about the challenges Crawford is willing to take on. In the end, Garcia's remarks aren't just about throwing shade at Crawford. They reflect a broader sense of ambition and self-confidence. Garcia is positioning himself as a rising force in boxing, making it clear that he sees himself as a legitimate contender capable of taking on the sport's top stars, even Crawford. While his comments may be seen as controversial, they certainly keep him at the forefront of boxing discourse, as fans and analysts wait to see if a fight between the two will ever come to fruition. Ryan Garcia says he has already called Bud to request a fight in order to show that Crawford isn't as good as people think, taunting him with the prospect of a large payday. "I don't think Bud Crawford could keep up with someone that talented, young, and fast. I haven't even seen him fight someone like that. Can you name him? I think I'd love to fight Bud, but I don't think he's as good as people think. If Bud is listening, I'd like to beat you." Garcia said, "Have you ever fought someone who has one-punch knockout power? No. Therefore, I think Bud Crawford is overrated." Garcia said, "I don't know if he's going to win or lose, but I'll be going for him if he fights Canelo. I mean, I don't know if he's going to win or lose, but I definitely address his accomplishments and future endeavors on the Joe Rogan Experience." Ryan left it up to Crawford, the unbeaten WBC and WBO welterweight champion, to decide whether the fight would take place, but he made it clear that if he accepted, he would receive a sizable payment. "If he doesn't want it, it's not my fault. He's boring as hell, but I'd probably give him the biggest paycheck of his life," Garcia said. Crawford discussed possible fights with Canelo Alvarez, saying, "Now that I've changed gears, I know I want to fight Canelo. It's great. This is my era, and I'm taking it. Ain't nobody going to stop me." He added, "I've always thought that's a major jump, but what can someone say when they go up 3 weight classes from 147 to 168 pounds, win, and become undisputed?" The discussion proceeded with the 3-time undisputed champion and the smaller fighter who moved up 3 weight classes to defeat one of the most formidable fighters outside of himself, who has likely been doing it for a longer period of time than I have. When asked what the weight would be, Crawford was clear that he wanted it at 168. He also stated that the winner of the bout between Canelo Alvarez and Jal Charlo was his target, saying that his bout with Alvarez would be the biggest fight in boxing and that he had to come to win 54. He said, "I have a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it out, man." "You received a glass," he said. The 40Z fighter is also unconcerned about hopping categories. "I simply trust in my skills, even if I would need to put on weight." Canelo is not a big guy. He's 5 feet 8 inches and muscular, but if he defeats Charo, that wouldn't be nothing, in my opinion. He first rejected the idea, especially after defeating Jal Charlo, saying on TV that Crawford wasn't on his radar. However, Canelo has since stated that if the financial incentives from Saudi Arabia are significant, he would entertain the music, challenge from 147 to 168, and the win would become undisputed wow. He wants to go up to 68 days after Terence Crawford changed his mind and said he would move up 3. In an interview with BoxingScene.com, the formerly uninterested Mexican superstar has also changed his mind about fighting Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds. The undisputed super middleweight champion Alvarez said he'd be open to facing the undisputed welterweight champion Crawford if the Nebraska native's comments indeed carried serious weight. "Look, I respect Crawford, he's a great fighter, I always say that no disrespect to him," Alvarez told Boxing Scene. "Calm, but you know sometimes it's a little crazy the people talking about how I'm going to face a fighter like the 154 pounds Charot, which he's big at 5'11" and tall. Everybody is talking about if I'm going to face Crawford, a fighter at 147 pounds who is smaller than Charlo, so it does not make sense when you guys say right now. I don't understand. So who would you fight at 68? Canelo if he win, or is Charlo the winner? Wow, that would be crazy. I want to be 3-time undisputed at the end of the day. I don't want to have credit to face Crawford no matter what, but you never know. You never know. In boxing, I will go up and down and fight everybody out there, so it's possible. Why not? It's possible. If it makes sense, I am down to do it. I don't care who is there. I am always able to fight everybody Crawford wanted to fight. At a catch weight of 160 or 158 pounds, thus Alvarez first turned down the notion of a bout. Shortly after learning of Alvarez's most recent remarks, Alvarez also believed that defeating the little Crawford would not give him the credit he deserved or further his reputation. On Wednesday, Bud sent a tweet. "Canelo versus Crawford is unquestionably the most significant boxing match of all time." Crawford explained his stance on the possible bout, stating that he would put on 21 pounds and go up to 168 pounds if given the opportunity to prove himself against Alvarez.